Hello, my name is Frank Starkey, Vice President of Training at Dale Carnegie. We will discuss facilitating for effective meetings. So let's talk about meetings today. Let's talk about the characteristics. I think it has a lot to do with the facilitator. The facilitators are really a key in terms of being that catalyst for making that meeting really get the results that we're looking for. What's harder to prepare for, a 10-minute presentation or a 1-hour presentation? And it's usually the 10-minute ones because we have to really make sure that we're organized and have all the content ready that we want to go. Thank you.
And it's neat when they come in prepared, and we all know that when we're in those meetings where that facilitator is very well prepared.
You know, someone come into a meeting and they're just carrying their bags, and I said, I'm here to present, and what are we talking about? And it's like in our mind we're going, maybe I should have scheduled another meeting instead, right?
Here's my BlackBerry.
What are some other characteristics of effective presenters or facilitators?
I think their ability to draw in the audience, their level of energy, being able to engage those who may be the quiet one, or just engaging everyone and keeping that energy level up.
Well, you know, I think one of the things they do is when the facilitator right off the bat gets their participants engaged, I think that's powerful.
Yeah, I think of that as rapport with the group, and so your ideas around icebreakers or getting to know people, you know, right at the table so everyone can get to know them is great. I also think if you can spend a little time in advance of the meeting, maybe get there, to your point, get there a little bit early, to just go around and shake people's hands and introduce yourself is always a great technique of getting people to engage with you.
Yeah.
As a facilitator, you're not supposed to be talking.
Right.
You're supposed to be listening to and engage people to talk.
Yep.
So
They're physically there, but mentally they're not. And how do we deal with those? Well, first of all, why are they phantom participants in the first place? And as a facilitator, what does that do to us when we see someone in the back and they're really not engaged with our
It's very distracting, you know, because you're looking around and you see a few of those in the room. You know, you're thinking, I want to try to work to get these people engaged. At the same time, you're trying to stay on point with your agenda, and so there's multiple things going through your head as a facilitator. As your facilitator, here's my promise to you: if I see 2 or more of you reaching for your phones and apparently tuning out of the meeting, we'll take a technology break.
Right.
Well, you're not going to nobody wants to do technology breaks every 15 minutes, so they'll probably go, okay, we're going to get a break. She or he promised.
Right,
so
exactly.
we're going to get there.
I think if you can promise them some things.
Because when you say
exactly, and so pointing to the behavior rather than the individual is always a great facilitator technique too.
Well, I mean, I think the point goes well, setting expectations.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of times where people get involved and they don't think it's moving fast enough for them, but we got to figure out ways to keep them involved. And then there's one other type of person that we have a tendency to see in our meetings, and they are just the folks that they're not contributors. So how do we engage the unengaged?
You could call on them. Just kind of depends on the person, what that result will be, or if they'll feel like you're putting them on the spot.
Right. Be careful on that. One of the things I found that works well for me is to say, okay, here's a question. Everybody write down a response or some thoughts on that. And so as soon as we see somebody writing something on their paper, guess what that gives us? Permission to call on them. So they don't feel like they're being singled out as much because they do have a thought written down on the paper.
Here is if we want our participants to be engaged, we've got to be engaged. If we're the facilitator, we've got to be engaged. Show up early, show up prepared, maybe review your roster of who's there early on, and know your agenda very well, and come prepared in that whole mindset with some tools that I can work with right away to get my folks engaged and feel warm and comfortable about the meeting.
We certainly like to encourage everyone to go to the resources that everyone has available to them through the SGA Association, as well as Dale Carnegie training. Be happy to know that if everyone goes to dfw.dalecarnegie.com, we can get a digital copy of our Golden Book, which is all the human relation principles, which really come into terrific play in terms of allowing people to really interact and work together and collaborate. So we hope we gave several good ideas today, and we appreciate you watching. Thank you.